Hi, everybody, and welcome for this Campus Wave session. You know, our regular rendezvous
Hello,
in the
hello,
week.
and
Hi, Sini.
welcome back to our stream. Uh, Usually, this becomes the most exciting part for us in the entire week when we know we're going to come up with something interesting for you people.
Yeah,
We're going to do a little bit of chit chat and we're going to build awesome stuff together. Yeah. So, what's up? What's going on? How's the weather at your place? If you're here, do not forget to drop a hi on the chat below and
mm,
let's talk. And what did you do this week? What is something
yeah.
special?
Maybe I would like
What
to ask you that, Sini. What is the
uh
weather,
me-
in India currently?
weather? It's very hot. It's summer here. I have my
Oh,
air conditioner on. It's pretty bad. Well, it might be around 40 degrees here. It's
mm.
very hot. But apart from that, what about you? How's the temperature? What's the
Yeah,
temperature?
I think it's France. We are living a strange period. So basically, last week it was like summer, 25 degrees
Mm-hmm.
Celsius. And today, and even the last few days, it was like zero. So it's very hard to
Mm.
know exactly what we
What's
need to
happening?
wear. Yeah, and if we need to turn on, the what is the name in English? To make the house a bit more hot.
Heater?
Yeah,
Heater?
heater. Yeah.
Uh,
That's it. So, today
yeah.
it's rainy, but it's
Mm-hmm.
mostly like this, in Brittany. Always a little
Mm,
bit rainy, but
but
a lot
still,
of
it's good.
wind. A lot of
But
wind. So,
but at least
huh.
it's not sweaty. I mean, sweaty is bad here because of the bad temperature. The hot temperature. It's like you go out and there's so much sun and it's so hot in there. You can't
Hmm.
just do anything. It's very hot in here. So yeah. What did you do interesting this week? What's going on?
Well, I'm working on, let's say secret things. I can't say too much things today, but I think people will know that in the next coming weeks, probably next coming months. So basically, prepare some articles, great content, and especially for the French community. That is not always the case because most of the time I'm creating English content, but I think for the first time, or for I didn't do that for a long time anyway. I'm preparing some content about the chipster and for the French community. So that's very interesting. And
That's nice.
this is a
Yeah.
good opportunity to ask myself a lot of questions. I always do that. So, okay, I found that, and ask to myself what I will do, in this case, or I can define that, and then. So a lot of questions I like to answer only for myself, but probably that helped me to ask to
Yeah.
answer people also there. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I'd like to play a sound for this, but I don't have those clap sounds. I'm not sure. Let me know if you can hear this. Could you hear
No,
anything?
no, 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 nothing.
No, I think yeah, maybe audio
Mm,
doesn't get shared. But
yeah,
anyway, we'll try this next time. We'll have
yeah, we
some
can.
sound effects to to
Yeah.
appreciate. It's gonna be interesting. Perfect,
Well,
perfect.
so anyway, today we are here to continue our session about the fossils.
Best practices
Yeah,
to
that's it.
work as a
So as I remember, we did the creators and the creator. So the next one, if I'm good, it will be the composer. And this is what we
composer.
are talking about today. So if I'm sharing it, oh no, I would like to share it, but okay, here we go. Here we are.
Mm.
So just to ensure that, well, people exactly understand what we are talking about. The four C's are the four different roles you can have using an application composition platform. So we already did two sessions, one about creators and the second about curators. And today we are talking about composers. And I think, as you can understand, we are willing to do another session that will be about consumers, but probably not next week because we have already things planned. But maybe in next 2 weeks or 3 weeks, we will finalize all this session with a consumer. But today we are talking about composers. So that is interesting to understand where the composers is and how we can define it, or maybe how we can imagine working, or we can imagine him working, in these different processes. So the thing is, composers are developers or business IT that use local application composition tools or UI development framework to assembly applications from components. So basically, they are the people that are, how can I say that? They are people that choose which components we need to, create if we are using no-code tools, or select if we need to pick them, in the hub that has been managed by the creator. It's also a good point because I think composers are the kind of guardian of business, helpers between how the business is defined and how it will be finally rendered. So that is a bit different. So I think we say that the creator is, the people that are creating things, that making things available because they can create things from scratch. But the composers is the person that will understand the consumer and will try to compose things to reach or to solve all the business issues. So this rule is very important because it's the link. It could be the link and a high V link between the business and the technical skills. So probably after having understanding that, we need to understand what are the different best practices we can have as a composer.
Well, as we speak about composer, I think a composer is a great role. If I were given to choose between all the four roles, I would love to be a composer too.
Mm.
Because normally, well, I had put a question on the chats to see what you people think about a composer when you first hear it. What is the first thing that comes to your mind when you
Mm.
hear composer? Because normally we have, like, I have always felt a composer is someone who's very artistic. So he's
Yeah.
supposed to make sure the composition is awesome. So,
Yeah.
in the same time, a composer needs to make sure whatever he composes in a page or in an application is awesome, because
Mm.
that is what is going to be used by consumers in the end stage. So, their work is kind of the final touch of spice. So,
Yeah.
they need to be very artistic. Well, when I say
Yeah.
artistic, that's just a way of telling it, but yeah, you have to be very
Yeah.
mindful when you
Flexible also,
compose.
I think.
Yes,
Yeah.
flexible,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, because that's true. When we're talking about creators, we say, okay, the creator, you are managing a little part of business things. So let's say, for
Mm-hmm.
example, you are a creator and you create some PBCs, something I don't know, creating checkout components or
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, project life cycle or something like this.
Right.
So as a technical people or as a creator, you can create things because you understand this area. This is your job. This is where you are very performant. Well, the composers is a kind of jack of all trade. I think we said that we use this name jack of all trades before. Like
Mm-hmm.
I
Yes.
need I need to understand what the consumer want. I need to understand what my creators did, and I need to select all these things, or probably also create new things uh, in the right way, or I mean, with a good, with the best idea I can do, the best things I can do using all these things. It's not only about put everything on the table and say, hey, that's it. See you guys. No, it's making all these things great and working integrate smoothly together. That is probably the best, or I think the most difficult part, because it's not only about choosing things, it's
Hmm.
choosing things well.
Right.
I think maybe I can say that. Yeah, what is the name, or what I can think about behind composers is, it's like a football coach. So
Hmm.
when you are a football coach in a team, you have plenty number of footballers, of
Players.
players. So
Yeah.
you have all these players, and this is not only, hey, you will play, forward, you will play backward, and that's all. No, you
Hmm.
need to compose with all these talented people there on the field, and understand them, where they are great, where they need to improve themselves, or they can play together to make, a kind of synergy between all of them. And I
Right.
think compose an application, it's probably something like this. It's not only select all the elements you have, on your hand, it's also select the right ones, but also ensure that all the elements you are selecting are working well together. And for one goal, win a game.
Because that is going to be the last touch of spice, or your last touch of magic that is going to be enjoyed by the end user, which is
Mm,
going to be the consumer. So you have to make sure that even if there is a problem with the creator or the curator, you are taking care of that well, because
yeah,
now you have a creator and a curator's
yeah.
work in your plate, and you have to make sure that you are handling that well, so you have
Mm-mm.
responsibilities to take care of. So yeah.
Yeah, and that's why I think communication is the key on being also a
Right.
great composer, because
Mm-hmm.
you are also the person that probably understand or have a better understanding of what a consumer wants, and be able to, yeah, go back to see the creator and try to check with them how we can improve that, because you can understand both. You have the ability to, this is why I was
Mm-hmm.
saying flexible. You have the ability
Right.
to have technical skills, and also
Mm-hmm.
have business skills, a kind of,
Right.
you know you have two sides you need to cover.
Take care
And
of. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, that is very important, and that is
Mm-hmm.
not is this is not an easy job, by the way.
Yeah,
Well,
it takes a lot to do it. So
mm,
what is the right definition of a composer? So at the composition stage, when you've reached the composition stage after creation and curation, enterprises create composable applications by pulling the necessary building blocks, just as we discussed, from the curated hub. So it's like all the, I think in our previous stream when we were speaking about curators, Anthony and I discussed where the components and PVCs land up
mm,
finally after creators have curated them. So it's a hub. So a hub is a place where they land, and once they've landed there, that place is a curated hub where they have landed. So your job as a composer is to pull them from there and integrate them based on their prerequisites and the given needs of your
mhm.
application. So it's not like you just pull up everything. So you just
No.
pull up whatever you need for your application with
Well,
respect to needs
I
and
think
requirements.
you can pull up everything. That is possible, but I'm not sure this is the best way, and probably this is not
Yeah,
what kind
not a
of
good
practice.
practice.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
probably this will not be, in the best practices list. But
Yeah.
this is, probably what we can see, the difference we can see behind between a great composer and a bad composer. If you think that you can, pull everything and putting everything on the table and say, hey, that's it, I'm finishing, and see you, bye bye, next time. Mm, I think the consumer will not
uh,
be very happy.
right. I agree.
Well, if we take a look, another look, because I think we already saw that multiple times, at least two times during the two previous stream, the component life cycles. So the first stream was about creating modules by the creator, the second by the curate modules by the curator, and the third is compose application. This is where we are now. Is when you are talking about composers, you are talking about compose or effectively compose an application, that means uh, select the building blocks, put them into a page, and maybe create contents and categories, and also define some rules, or things like this. So it's a kind of final stage of creating the application, even if we still have the consumer or the consume stage. But in the components lifecycle, finally, the component will be chosen in this stage, that is compose. And of course, the last one will be to use them. Hi, Alessandra. Thank you to be here.
Yeah, I was just gonna write hi to her. Thank you for
Yeah.
being here. Well, what does grande mean? Grande, ragazzi. You know that, Anthony? Is that your language?
Oh, yeah. Grande, I think it's great or awesome.
Okay. Okay. And ragazzi means
Ragazzi, I think it's that's great guys. I think it's something like
oh,
this.
something like
Yeah,
that. Oh,
great
nice. So
guys.
this is Italian.
Yeah, this is Italian. Well, from what I know from Italian is, I think if you say ragazza, it's for woman. If you say
Okay.
ragazzi,
Ragazzi.
probably if you say ragazzo, maybe, or maybe
Okay.
Alessandra can. It's for men. I'm
Something
not
like
sure.
that.
And ragazzi could be if you are many of them. So it's not
Plural form. So anyway,
plural. Yeah,
ragazzi means plural. Wow.
yeah.
Well,
I think
thanks
so.
for
I
that.
think so. Say no, let's try Alessandra grande ragazzi. I
Oh.
think this is it. But well, this is what happened when you need to deal with different
Mhm.
languages. It's like
Mhm.
compose everything. No,
Right. Right.
no,
Perfect.
ragazzi. eh, Yeah, it's like great guys. So
Cool guys. Okay.
Google validate that.
Okay. Yeah, then that's the meaning.
When
Perfect.
you have some doubt, just ask to
Mhm.
Google.
Ask Google. Yeah. Right. 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 Okay.
Anyway,
Perfect.
so the component life cycle, the last one is compose
Mhm.
apps. So yeah, we are here.
Okay.
So then we can talk about
Come to
best
the
practices to work as a composer.
best practices. So I guess I put up a question. What is the first thing that you hear when you that comes to your mind when you think of a composer? So a composer is supposed to take care of all the things that are going to show up in the page for the end user, as I've said that. So now when like you have to think of applications in a composable way, so it is more like more for creators actually. I mean, so it's like a composer needs to communicate this particular thing to a creator, so when they're creating something, they should not think a lot about just reusing it. They should write code. They should just do it in the way it is, and later they can emphasize or turn that into such a way that it could be reusable. But the initial approach should not be a reusable thought. Like the initial approach shouldn't make you feel like I'm doing
Mm.
something because it is going to be used again and again. Just do it for the sake of your need, for the sake
Yeah,
of its need, its requirement. Am I right, Anthony?
yeah. It's the thing is, I think there is a risk in such way
Mm-hmm.
that if you are too early thinking about reusing or creating reusable component first, oh, we are losing the music. Sorry, teams.
Yeah,
I'm putting some. Oh, what I want to say, lo-fi. Yeah,
love
lo-fi.
life.
It's probably too high, but no, it's great.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
Anyway, what I was saying is, yeah, when you are
Risk.
creating or when you are composing application, there is some risk to spend too many time trying to creating or defining templates or components that should be reusable, but finally you will not leverage them enough comparing to all the time you spend to create them. And I think this is
Right.
something that developers already know. You know, when you try, when sometime when you start developing and you say, hey, Well, I can create, flexible component, flexible code. I can imagine I will reuse them, so split my code into more smallest part or
Mm-hmm.
reusable part, and finally, all this code will be used once. So that means this is not probably a good idea for the same thing, for the same reason, to start
Mm-hmm.
trying to defining things for reusable, well, reusable things first.
Reusability. Yeah.
Reusability, that's it. That's the word. And yeah, and
Yeah.
probably what you need first is to try to cover what your consumer wants, creating
Yeah.
things, don't worrying too much about reusing them. And then when all these things worth trying to figure out how you can improve that, then refactors, then creating templates, then try to uh, target what is could be reusable, and then from that create that. Of course, and one more thing is, if you already know, or if you already know you need to to use existing components, that is a bit different. Because yeah, let's say we took this example few days ago with Sohini, is what happen if I am in company and I need to put the logo, I need to put the login, the
Mm.
login corner, the footer, and everything that I don't have the choice. And in this case, is yeah, you just need to pull the right components through PVC, through a component list, component collection, and then put them at the right side. Then probably what you want to do is to create a content template, or a template,
Mm-hmm.
I mean page template, excuse me, not a content template, a page template,
Mm-hmm.
to ensure that all your page will reuse them by default. So the thing is, yeah, in this case, it could make sense. But if you are starting from the bottom, from scratch,
Mm-hmm.
probably that it's better to do all these things step by step, baby step, and then when time is come, refactor everything.
Yeah. Right. 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 So that I even agree with all the things that Anthony said. Like, and actually, I think that is the goal. That is the way the entire 4C model is built. I
Mm,
think you take one step after the other. It's not like
mm,
you put a high jump to
yeah.
any of the rows or any of the step. Everything is structured. And this is something that I have believed always. The more you follow a structure, to build something or to bring an outcome of something, the best it comes out, not only for that moment, but even for the future. So
Mm,
I think, just making a hodgepodge
mm,
of it at the first go isn't going to work. So you have to just
yeah.
do it one by one, and it's going to be super awesome. So, yeah,
Yeah, and
perfect.
one more point is, if
Hmm.
maybe we can, that could help to understand that, if let's
Hmm.
say, let's take an example, you are a composer in composition team, and you ask a creator team to create some components because you don't have them, you need them, and you know that you will reuse them. If you started by, if the first things you are doing is asking for components, and without testing them, or without having enough background or enough time to understand why you need that, and in such way you will use it, and do you need to use that with several users, several roles, several I don't know, all the other example we can find. In this way, there is a risk that you will do a lot of um, you know uh, travel between you and the composer, the creator team. And
Hmm.
that is not bad, by the way. That is not bad, by the way. But probably, if you train yourself, compose things, and understand exactly what is working, and how you can
What? Yeah.
effectively leverage from reusing things, you can have a better experience also with your creators, and then try to, yeah, ask for the good things. Hmm.
I think that's a good point too. Well, yeah, great
Mm,
points. So I think these are the so we got 3 points when we are told or when we imagine to think composable. And this is, I guess, the first step. If you want to be a composer, make sure that you think composable, else it's not going to work. So yeah, and I think the next big point is try to leverage existing components wherever possible. So instead of, I guess here we have a hub where we have different kinds of components. Now, let's say there is a login component created using React already. You need not to create another login component, which is created in React, and maybe it has a different CSS. So I don't think that is going to be a good thing. So it's like maybe you can use sorry, maybe you can use the existing one. I just put my hands down. Yeah, yeah. So maybe you can use the existing one and maybe you can edit it or just make changes to it as per your needs. But instead of creating duplicates, is I don't think that's a great practice. So try to
mm,
use existing components. And since we're talking about a hub and since we're talking about existing components, I just wanted to add a little point here. So, most of the companies have their own design language standard. So, they have got, I think we have got our brand guidelines too. So, what happens, not only that, some companies have even got their components, the design and the code mentioned in their DLS, in their design language standard. So it's like they're going to use this specific login component for all the web pages or websites that are going to create from now and till the end of, till the end of universe. So
mm,
they're going to have a login component which has got maybe a blue header and a specific typo and a specific I don't know, something, font color size, something like that. So what happens is I think we do the best job here because we not only specify that, we are giving you a hub where it's created, so you don't have to code it. All you need to do is just drag and drop it. That's it. That's it. So I guess we're doing a great job here with the hub anyway, because I think that solves a big problem, because I think this has been a problem for developers to every time create a new file in their code. Let's say they're building a website for some other purpose for their company, of course, which could be B2B or B2C, but that requires the login component. So it has to be the login component which has been used in all the websites of that
mm,
particular company. So you don't have to create a new file and copy and paste the code from their website. So you can just use the component by dragging and dropping it into your
mm.
page or in your application, in your website. So I think we are doing a great job in that already.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
maybe,
If Well,
yeah.
one more thing about that. Think about also that most of the time, people ask you to create things that are looking great for the company, that are respecting the rules, but finally you don't know exactly what the rules are. So I
Mhm.
did, I experienced that in the past. Like, hey, we need to have the login. I'll say the login component is a really great example because it's happen all the time, all the time. Is hey,
Mm.
we need to have a login form there, and it has
Mm.
to look to the
Similar.
yes, so similar to all these application or to our branding stuff. And you
Yeah.
say, okay, but what is the branding, or what are the rules, what are the colors, what are the images? I don't know. I need to ask. I need to find the people
Yeah.
that are responsible of that. Wait a minute. And finally, you spend a lot of time trying to
Figure it.
understand. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
wow.
I think
Okay,
it itself is a lengthy process, you
yeah.
know.
But this is an example with the login format. I think you can find a lot of example with that. And
Mm.
finally, if we have a solution to just, as you said, drag and drop things and say, okay,
Mm.
I know, I can trust it because it's in my
Mhm.
hub. This is in
Mhm.
my marketplace, so I can
Mhm.
trust it, and I know that I will use it. And even if we have a new version, I
Mhm.
just need to check the hub when the new version is available and update my components, and that's all.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Mm.
That's right. I know. So I think this is great. So having a hub is awesome. But yeah, again, going back to the main agenda, like, your best practice as a composer
Yeah,
must be to use as much as existing components as much as possible from the hub. That's the best. And then we have the best code to use is often the code your team doesn't have to write or maintain. Um,
I love
so
this
I
sentence.
think, yeah, it's a bit tricky. Yeah. So it's like when you read it, it's not gonna go inside your head for the first
Yeah.
5 seconds, but then you can initially understand it. So yeah, like I think anyway, it's the best. Like every time there's an issue with maintenance, mostly when you're writing code. So I think that's the best code, which doesn't need any maintenance. And yeah, try to build components too. Like this is again for creators, which needs low maintenance. So as much applications, as much PVCs and components you can create with lower maintenance, they are much better. But of course, with maintenance comes new features and stuff. So it's a very tricky thing again. Maybe we can talk about it some other day. It's a big
Yeah,
subject again. So
yeah, of
yeah.
course.
Then we've got evenness. I guess
Yeah,
Anthony's got some good
evenness.
insights for this.
Yeah, I think, and that's true. Like design systems help us to create the same look and feel components, and that is very important. I think I don't know if this word it does exist. In English, that is patchwork. So like if you compose things, or if you compose an application, you don't want it to look like, oh, I put it everything I have. I don't know, at putting everything I found, and I put it all the things there. It works, but it's look ugly. Yeah, because you have some
Yeah.
green stuff and some red
hmm
stuff and the blue
hmm
stuff in the middle, and also you have some brown stuff. At the yeah, it doesn't.
Yeah.
Well, the final user experience will not be great as it could be, and I think creators should check that the developer the no no the user experience is the best as
hmm
it can be by providing evenness. So by
hmm
providing something coherent, by the way. So that means probably that this is not something that the computer could change or maybe modify. But the thing is, as the final users of components,
hmm
composers can go back and give a lot of feedbacks to the creator team and check with them and say, hey, I think team, we need to improve that because this component is not following, the rules, or is not. Maybe we should improve that, or probably I don't know. We can find a lot of. Oh,
mm.
it's my turn. No, please. Uh, and one thing, yeah. So the composers can play a really good role in helping creators to be more accurate by creating
hmm
things and use design systems. So design systems is a very good option, to cover that. Well, yeah.
mm.
So once again, communicate. So understand and communicate is probably the two important things we have as a composers. I know we already
hmm
that for creators, especially for communication. By the way, communication is everywhere. So I mean, if you want to succeed, you need to ensure that all your teams communicate to each other or understand them each other. Or probably you need to create a fusion team that will contain all these people inside. So then they can, you can create a synergy between them.
Mm.
Well, the last point is RBAC, so role-based access controls. So I think use the role-based access controls application will help to make your application more secure, of course, but probably also help you to think composable. So we are going back to the first point: is
hmm
if you define your components, or the components you are creating, that could be a low-code things or no-code things, or it could be components that have been already prepared by creators, or if you need to ask your creators to build some components, you need to understand that, okay, my component could be used by different people that will not have the same roles, and see it. in if they don't have. I'm using French word, but, I'm
Yeah.
switching French to English sometimes. It's strange. Yeah. So
See.
si,
See.
it's a French,
See.
but
See.
it's also Italian, by the way. But I think
Yeah.
the meaning is not exactly the same. But
Mm-hmm.
if you understand, team, that if and si in French is the same things. So
Mm-hmm.
if you what I was saying, oh no, I was saying that, so if you know, and if you need to create components that will be used by several different people that probably will not have the same level of rules, that mean of authorization, that means you need to handle that into your components. And I can see Alessio is here. Hi Alessio, ciao team. Hi Alessio is the great guy,
Ciao,
that
ciao.
creating all these great things, especially if you check the blogs that are behind, is the creator of that.
Yeah.
And yeah, so
Kudos to him.
yeah, it is. Yeah, congratulations. Uh, so role-based access control is something very interesting, since you can also improve or make your components more flexible also. So that means inside the same application, I can expect my components to work for both my administrator or my managers, and also the simple users. So that means the behavior will be a bit different, and probably I will not be able to see the same content or to have access to the same actions because of my roles. But
Mm-hmm.
anyway, what I want to do is my components to be to adapt them to the users that is actually connected. So
Okay.
that is a very
So
interesting
I
thing.
have a question. So this role means more like just like we have got admin, editor, uh, someone like, yes, roles like that. Admin, then editor, user kind of
Yeah,
roles.
yeah, it could
Okay.
be. Yeah, this is something I've worked on in the past, especially when I work on some enterprise content management
Mm-hmm.
application, and
Mm-hmm.
basically the default roles were admin,
Mm-hmm.
contributors,
Mm-hmm.
and readers, I think. So as a
Mm-hmm.
reader, you don't have any you don't have access to any actions. So what you can
Mm-hmm.
do is just to read the content. Then as a
Mm-hmm.
contributors, you have access to add some contents or edit
Mm-hmm.
existing contents or edit your contents, for example. And
Mm-hmm.
then as an admin, you have access to read, to create and update, but also to delete existing contents, and maybe
Mm-hmm.
to also manage all these roles. So let's say this is just an example, but this is what we can imagine has different
Nice.
roles you can have. So that means, let's say I
Awesome.
have a component that is displaying some contents. I can
Mm-hmm.
expect my contributors to be able to add new contents or to edit existing ones, but while the users or the readers will only be able to read it, and so
Mm-hmm.
will not have any actions. So I can imagine having some a button bar that will be
Mm-hmm.
disabled or will not appear if I don't have the right roles here.
Mm, got it. Perfect. Wow. So many best practices to work as a composer. Wow.
Yeah,
Great points.
yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe we can try also to understand. Oh, I will put it on. I will maximize it. So
Mm-hmm.
finally, what we are talking about when we are talking about composition, and this is a great example. So you can see this is even a page template that allows us to drag and drop things into several parts that are
Mm-hmm.
defined, we know, with the gray rectangles here.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can have in the same page very different things such as microfontans,
Mm-hmm.
data widgets, as content CMS, and content template, of course, to render content, page
Mm-hmm.
template to render the page, and so on. So
Mm-hmm.
finally, this is a very interesting things, and I'm pretty sure that it will help the audience to
To understand
understand,
it better.
yeah,
Well,
and
this
why
is
we
a.
need best practices.
Mhm. Yeah, of course. And I think this is a very clear depiction of a composer, of you or me or Anthony as a composer. This is what we're gonna do. So yeah,
Mm,
this is awesome. Perfect.
perfect.
So I
Great.
guess we are by the end of our show today. So, if you really think that we did an awesome job helping you learn, and if you really think that you're curious and eager to learn more and stay updated with all the awesome things we're trying to do with you for you, then you can follow us on Twitter. Those are our Twitter handles. And also, if you think you really enjoyed the show, whatever we talked about, whatever we brainstormed, whatever we discussed, do not forget to hit a like, subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Mm,
And yeah, I guess anything else you want to add, Anthony?
yeah, maybe just give some news about what we can expect for the incoming weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, everything is not well defined yet, but I think what we will do, I will try to do a code and chill session next week to, well, uh, finished what we did with UGS. And probably I would like, so because yeah, you will not be able we will not be here Sohini next week, so we will not continue on best practices. We will just stop there and continue for the consumers in next 3 weeks, in
Mm-hmm.
3 weeks. And what I would like to do next week is, yeah, maybe talk about Chipster Lite. That is a new version, a new vision of Chipster, something very different that could be very interesting
Wow,
to
awesome.
just,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, dive into and maybe try to understand how we can create components
Mm-hmm.
and leverage Chipster again to use as composable things.
Right, right. Awesome. Great. So many good things that are going to happen in the next couple of weeks. So do stay tuned with us and to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Do not forget to do that. Show us some love by sharing and liking our videos that we come up with. And many more exciting stuff are going to come soon with more new people. Well, I'm going to just say with some experts, just a little sneak peek. I'm not gonna say it whole, and it's going to be very interesting
Mhm.
in the next couple of weeks, and it's gonna keep getting interesting guest. I don't know if
Yeah,
that's a word at all. Yeah, it's gonna get more interesting as you go further. Well, yeah, that's all from my side.
great. So see you, team. Have a
See
good
you.
day and see you next week for new lives. Bye
Yep.
bye.
Bye.